Gamification is way more than just points and badges. And today, guess what? We're going to figure out why. Sales Ascender and FlowChat fam, hey, welcome to a spotlight episode. Our guest, our fellow member is in the trenches and has some powerful information to bring us that she's finding happening right now in the market. And it's all around gamification. Now, gamification is insanely powerful. We are all gamified, whether it's fast food restaurants, whether it's magazines, different companies, there's gamification all around, but it's more than just points and badges and all, because when you're doing that, you're actually limiting yourself to 10% or less of all the people that would be motivated. Now, as course creators, as agency owners, as business owners looking to engage constantly our customers and continue earning attention and retention, this is the conversation for you. And we have to have this with fellow member Mary. Mary, how's it going?
Hello. Nice to be here.
Yes, thank you so much for coming on. Everyone watching this right now has no idea what's coming. It's going to be really powerful. I'm personally excited about it because building SaaS companies, building info products where you work so hard to build this thing that actually solves real problems, does a great job. Getting people to engage is a real problem, and that's what I know we get to dive into today. So, Mary, okay, let's just start with, how did you get into gamification?
Great question, Chris. So I've been a student of gamification for about 10 years, starting back before anybody really even knew what it was. And I used to work at a tech company. We gamified my team as part of the onboarding process, and we called it potatofication. And so I managed a team of 20 instructional designers or course creators for the normal person. And what we did was we onboarded them through a potatofied program. And as they mastered new skills, they got to showcase their Mr. Potato Head. And so anybody could walk past and see where they were on their onboarding journey. And it was just a blast to do.
That's awesome. Okay, wait, hold on. I want to pause you just for a second. So what I heard you say was everyone got a Mr. Potato Head. And when you accomplished, X task or project, you then got an additional part that you got to put on Mr.
Right.
Potato. So the people that had a more complete Mr. Potato Head were further along, essentially.
Exactly. And then we also had coloring sheets and little sand art and stuff. But you knew where they were on their journey based on these different visual clues.
Okay, everyone, thank you for watching. This is Mary, everyone. Great. No, I'm really excited. I feel like personally, I was like, why? Here's where I just went, Mary. Here's where I just went. And hopefully there's other people hearing this and going this direction with their business as well. What I heard was when we onboard new members, sending a physical item, it's not like a shout out, just that, although those are great, but having a physical thing that you see and you look at daily and you know where you're at in the process and what you get. And then I see a whole tribe of people, because we are building a community. If you're part of the FlowChat fam, woohoo. Then as family members, how are we growing and supporting each other? If we had all a potato head or something else saying oh, look, this person's doing this person's doing this, it's just something that we can rally around together. Am I tracking with you on that?
You're tracking spot on. It's just it's this visual clue. It's something a little bit fun. And it also let the other team members go, oh, let me help them. They don't have their left ear or whatever. And so everyone also knows the rules of the game, so to speak. So that's why we also had the coloring map that said, okay, this is equal to this skill. This is equal to this skill. And who doesn't like to color at work? I mean, it's a nice break from being on the computer all day long.
It's a good pitch. I'm buying all of this right now. So I'm actually looking down at my iPad and I'm writing down. I want to spend some more time. I don't know if Mr. Potato Head is with our branding guidelines and different things, I think there's some fun things we can do. But the premise and I love the Mr. Potato Head idea. I think that would be awesome to see a bunch of Mr. Potato Heads. But I want to be original. And it was between that and a rubber chicken, just so you know. And we decided that the rubber chickenification would have been difficult because we knew that we would end up throwing rubber chickens at each other. So there was less likelihood of us hurting somebody if we had a doll on our desk instead of a rubber chicken. This is so good. I love it. Okay, so this is, I love, everyone's already immediately getting the sense of how good you are at gamification in a real way, in a way that people are connecting with and they're actually responding and communicating together, building strong connection. So, okay, Mr. Potatofication. That's how you got started, and it apparently made an impression on you.
Well, it did. And so I have studied under Yukai Chao, who is one of the foremost authorities on gamification in the world. And he has his
Wow.
own community called the Octalysis Island. He has a framework that's called Octalysis Framework.
Whoa.
So there's like 8 key drivers that motivate most human beings' behavior.
Oh, so okay. All right, Mary. You can the loop has been opened. The 8. What are can we cover all 8, or what are the top? What's the top one?
So we'll cover a few of them.
Yeah.
Epic meaning and calling is one. And especially if you're in a SaaS agency, if you're building an agency, if you're online course creator, think about it from your audience perspective. Do they have an epic meaning and calling? And as entrepreneurs, most of us do. We want to change the world in some way. So there are
Okay.
certain things that will be more impactful to somebody who's driven by that than
Okay.
perhaps somebody who is driven by a sense of lack or a sense of scarcity. You've
Okay.
also got things like social acceptance. And that's where
Mm,
badges tend to come in, or sharing. Like affiliate marketing oftentimes ties into somebody who's really heavy on that social acceptance, because like, ooh, I know somebody and let me share with you because I really like this. And so
I like that.
there are 8 of those, and I'm happy to post it in the group, kind of a link, what those 8 are, because I could do a whole hour just talking about the 8 core drives. But then you
I
also
bet.
have white hat and black hat. So just like in like SEO, you've got, white and black hat.
Yeah.
Same thing with gamification. So if you think of the white hat as more
Okay.
of the like touchy-feely, we're all in love, let's be happy together. That's great for building community, but you
Okay.
need some of the black hat. And the black hat is that sense of urgency, that sense of the unknown. Because if you're always happy, you're going to love everybody that you're with, but you may never take action.
Okay.
If you do too
Okay.
much black hat, like, ooh, buy it now, you got to do this now, clock's ticking, you're going to take action, but you're not going to be real happy because you're feeling constantly stressed. So it's a balance between those two.
So, what are some good examples of black hat?
So black hat, if you've ever been to a website and it's like, okay, the cart's closing, you've got 2 hours to buy this, or the
Okay.
price goes up, that's black hat because it's scarcity, there's a time thing, and you're using language. It's like, do it now, you got to do it now, you got to do it now.
Okay. Like you're saying, high urgency, direct,
Yeah.
take action, move forward. And what would be a good example of white hat and touchy feely that you've seen work well?
So a good example of the white hat, more touchy-feely, and for those people who don't know me, if you ever do disc, I'm like that high D dominant director. In Myers-Briggs, I tested with like 0 F for feelings. I'm like all in my head. My children will vouch for that. They're just like, yeah, she is.
Female Spock.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, oh, let's just do this. So, but in terms of like the more touchy-feely stuff, that's actually where some of the points, badges, and leaderboards also come in,
Mm,
where it's a visual symbol, and it's like, oh, I got this badge, oh, I'm like really good. Or in
okay.
Facebook groups, when folks post the like, here's our top 10 contributors this month.
Notoriety, recognition.
Notoriety, recognition, that kind of thing. And again, it needs to have a balance for it to be effective, because A, not everyone's motivated by the same thing, and
Right.
then B, you've got to think about, what action do you want your audience to take to help you reach your business goals. And
Perfect.
so that, so matching it to the occasion.
I love it. So I'm hearing a couple filters. The first one is the 8 core drives, and these are essentially 8 different ways how people are motivated. And then the other filter is kind of white hat, black hat. One being community driven, touchy feely. It's more pleasure driven, and then black hat is more urgency, scarcity, take action, more pain driven.
Yes.
And so pain and pleasure are two very motivating. Elements when
Yes,
it
and you
comes
got to
to.
have both in order to be successful. But
I
the
like that.
classic example is tax time. You got to
Mm.
do the taxes, but how many of us wait till the last minute, and then it's like, oh, I got to pay whatever, and then you have that
uh,
sense of relief because then you got it done, and so that's that black hat and the white hat.
I love it. The correlation of both. Okay, perfect. Yeah, so these are really powerful things right off the bat with gamification. I know there's another really powerful thing that you've mentioned, and we got to talk about a little bit before even jumping on here today, is being aware, being mindful, putting into practice like points and badges. They have a place, white hat,
Hmm.
but they're only capturing a small percentage of the people that are actually, like, it's only motivating action and result to a smaller percentage of people. How do we get to 30, 40, 50, 70 or more percent of people to take action?
So that's a great question. And so first of all, if you really want to just do points, badges, and leaderboards, you can move on that spectrum, but it does take more thought and planning. So the points have to have a reason for getting the points. You can't just go, oh, I just gave you 100,000 awesome points, because there's no value to them. How do you
Mm.
make the points more valuable? If you do this action, you get 10 points. If you do this action, you get 50 points. If you do this action, you get 100 points. And let's use your new product as an example. Okay, so I'm a new client and I've just signed up and I've now acquired 1,000 points.
Congrats, Mary.
Yeah, congrats. But to make it more valuable to me, maybe you
Yeah.
have a store that's on your site where people can then turn their points in to something that will help them. So maybe it's
Mm.
a 15-minute call with the founder. Maybe it's some additional plugins that they can add to make the service more valuable. Maybe it's, but you're also giving the user a sense of choice on
Yeah.
how they turn in their badge or their points.
I like it. I like it. So, where is a place that, like, I guess it could just be within the platform. You almost got to go to a site or a store to be able to see, I guess, or you could even have a PDF or like tracking the point. Like we kind of get into this whole, where does this ecosystem live?
Yes. And so there are solutions out there that are fairly expensive. We like to work with our clients to meet them at the no cost, low cost. And so something as simple as a Google form that
Hmm.
feeds into a Google Sheet that allows you to track when you're first getting started. As you grow, you're going to want something that's a little bit more robust. But when you're first testing things out, this is a perfect place to do that. And you have checkpoints. And if you're doing an online course, you've already got some of those built-in checkpoints in the learning management system. It's like, oh, Chris already watched these videos. It's like, okay,
Hmm.
great. I'm going to give Chris points because he watched these videos. Same thing with communicating in the class. It could be just a blanket email that you send out to the cohort of the class. It could be on a class announcement that says, here's our top 5 participants this week. Congratulations, Chris. You just won the Lion badge because you did all of these things that we asked you to do.
I love it. And as you're saying this, the note that I'm writing down is first, what I heard you say is earn points. Second, I hear assign meaning to the
Hmm.
points and have that related to the result that they're leaning into, they're interested in. What what has baffled me, and I really want to hear your opinion on this, Mary.
Okay.
What baffles me is what people will do for a free T-shirt.
Oh, yeah. It's amazing. I think it's just built into us. I mean, it's just like a free candy bar, too. When I was a teacher, I
Yeah.
would do that. And it's like, okay, if you've made it this far through the syllabus, stop by my office, answer this question and I'll give you a candy bar.
So what's going through my head is saying, you have points, and when you get X amount of points, you earn a free T-shirt. If you complete X amount of things, then you
Exactly.
you get a free T-shirt. Which all business owners listening to this, um, that's additional marketing for you. That's additional branding for you,
Yeah.
right? Especially in this online space. If I'm sitting here, if you'll see me have a FlowChat shirt very soon,
Uh-huh.
um, and all of our team, but this all being said, my goodness, it's just really effective. So it's a really good strategy. You're giving somebody a reason and incentive to immerse more in your content and get more of the result of why they even sought you out in the first place and said yes to you in the first place. And then they're continuing with that more motivation to further spread your brand and the
Right.
word
Spread
about
your
you.
van.
It's
And
like,
then
whoa,
again, I'm sorry to cut you off there. It's like I get so excited sometimes, but also thinking about what are other things you can offer. So great, I earned the t-shirt. What's next?
yeah,
Well, your audience probably doesn't want to just be walking around with all of your branded gear, but you give
right.
them different aspects and then think about, okay, so how much is my time worth? What's a 15-minute call with me worth? We do a
Mm,
1 minute, one problem targeted, focused, but you've earned it. So what are some of the other things that will really benefit your audience, but then also benefit you? And the one thing that I've seen so many people miss is they're all excited about gamifying because it's kind of like the cool buzz right now, but
yeah,
tying it into what are your business goals and
yeah.
how is this going to help move my business forward? So, what action do I want Chris to take so that he has a good experience and it helps me achieve my goal?
I love it. And if everyone listening to this, so I'm processing this, Mary, and doing my best to kind of apply on the spot, just as an example for all our listeners, watchers. And one really simple thing that we could do, within FlowChat, we definitely track our KPIs, key performing indicators. And for us, there's zero guesswork in sales. It's totally fun because you're never bored in sales. There's always something to do. You're always getting to meet new people, and also there's not guesswork. It's just activity.
Right.
And so, outreach, we can track outreaches, book calls, show up rates. We can track, and all that's kind of happening already naturally. So, for everyone, in the system, oh my goodness, like they don't have to do extra work, and it's like, hey, congrats, you just hit this level, and to drive their attention to their numbers, man, we both know. Any business owner knows, been around long enough. What you focus on grows, and if you're
Hmm.
focused on knowing your numbers, number one, and growing those numbers, you're going to win.
Yeah.
I love it. That's so good.
Yeah.
So
And
you go ahead.
no, I was just say, so that badges element is the other piece that comes in so frequently, and it's the same thing with the points. The badges have to have meaning, and so many times what we've seen is, oh, you set up your account, you get a badge. Oh, you spent 5 minutes on our webpage, you get a badge. Well,
Yeah.
what's the value of the badge? Maybe the badges goes more along with some of like the sites like, GitHub and some of the software sites are like, okay, you've responded to 10 queries with answers that people have upvoted and really like. You are now a level 1 GitHub ninja
Wow. Yeah. Okay.
versus, oh, you got a badge, you showed up.
Got it. So you're saying, so what I heard you say is
Yes,
identification. Like you're giving them kind of a new name, a new identity. So you're not just a member, you're a preferred member, a gold member, a premium member.
exactly. And then it also lets everyone else that's new to the community or part of the community go, oh, okay, Mary provides answers that are actually accurate and valuable. Let me go seek her out versus she hasn't got a clue what she's talking about. Let me go see if there's something. But it's also that visual identifier that says this person knows their stuff.
Yeah. Yep. So good. So good. Okay, so we're covering some identification. We're covering, badges. So things are recognizable, but there's still more here. There's still that element of, recognition that we're covering, and then there's that. What about for the people that aren't motivated by badges and they don't like? We were talking about Facebook has badges. I was like, I didn't even know Facebook had badges.
Uh-huh.
What do we do for those people? How do we engage those people?
So that's a great question. And it first comes down to know your audience. Find out what they like. So if you think of gamification as a way to add game elements into your business, if you play Monopoly, you know what the rules are. Oftentimes people fight over which little character they want to have. You also have to know what are the house rules versus what are the printed rules. And that's why I
Yeah,
chose Monopoly as an example, because every time I've played with a different group of people, it's like, okay, so how do you handle the cash in the middle? Or how do you do this? And so you've got to be clear on your rules so that your audience knows too what to expect. And then find different ways that you can surprise and delight them. So looking at really game strategies, we were talking before the call, one of my favorites is the Easter egg. And for folks that
yeah,
don't know what an Easter egg is, it's a hidden gem of content built into your content somewhere. And I use the example of Marvel movies because most people are familiar with those, even if you've never been to one. If you stay past the credits, there's always some kind of fun little short add on to the movie, and people that are not in the know just get up and leave. And people that are in the know are like, oh no, I got to stay for the credits. Let's see what's going to happen. So think about that with your content too. Let's say you've got a very long PDF on your site of how to solve this problem. And you constantly are getting help requests because people don't read the PDF. They skim it and they're like, the answer's not there. Let me just message support. If you build in an Easter egg into that content, it's like, oh, congratulations, you've made it this far. Click this link. And then up pops this little special video or something that you've created. There's like, thank you, intrepid web surfer. You have just done blah, 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 blah. And as a result, enter this code and you're going to get, 10% off next month's bill or something. Because now you're really seeing who's paying attention. And if you build a couple of those in, even in that same document, you can also start to see where people get confused and have a drop off. And then you can use that to fix your content.
So cool. So cool. That's, oh my gosh, Mary. Have you been doing this for a while?
Just a little bit.
I think that's really powerful. And actually, as you were sharing that, an example popped into my head. Anyone that's listened to me for a period of time knows that I like Loom. Loom.com, free tool.
Yes.
Well, they finally got me. I pay for, I don't know, something because I make a million videos every day with it. But here's the thing: it's a free screen recording software that, when you're done recording, immediately gives you a share link, so you can send it in all different chats, and it's really helpful for troubleshooting. Technical things, or just communicating feedback on projects and not always scheduling meetings. So it's really helpful. Okay. Now, this all said, I noticed something recently, Mary,
Okay.
and it was a surprise. And it was when you open it up and you have your video on the bottom part of your screen, I noticed a little gift box on the bottom, and I was like, "Oh, what's that?"
Uh-huh.
And so, without going down the whole bunny trail, right? What's important is gamification. What you kind of some of the elements you're mentioning is Marvel movies, your example. It's at the end. Placing content within your customer journey and experience that's not expected. It's
Yes.
like the secret menu at In and Out,
Uh-huh.
where you're like, oh wait, you have this and this. So those that know, and those that don't, eventually hear, and it's like this cool clubhouse. Great example for how they grew and exploded. Now
Yes.
evaluated over $1 billion. Who knows? I mean, that was like months ago too. So, um, I just, what you're saying, I really wanted to highlight because it's very powerful. The way that we're seeing it show up in the marketplace right now today, and I love it. So applying it even more specifically, we would need to place within our customer journey places where they wouldn't expect, and it just kind of pops. Oh wait, what's that? It's
Exactly.
playing on the curiosity element.
Yes. And so that's the other part of it. And so, mystery boxes, another thing that you can do, depending on the situation, are collection sets. So if you've got
Hmm.
got kids who play Pokemon or Magic the Gathering or something like that, it's all about collect or stamp collecting if you're old school. But it's creating these sets of collections. And when
Mm.
your audience collects a certain number of things, think about, McDonald's with their Monopoly game. Hey, I collect those pieces to win a free trip, or I get my free order of fries. But that collection set appeals to a part of our nature that wants to have a sense of order and collect things. And there's also that sense of the unknown, because you never know how many of these you're going to get. But you collect certain, like 4 lead magnets, you have a QR code, you get all 4, and then you submit it somewhere. And again, you get something special. Not only do you get
Yeah.
recognition, you get something that is above and beyond because you've gone above and beyond.
I love it. There's a lot in here, Mary. I really appreciate this. Everyone listening, watching to this, leaning in, if they want to keep hearing more from you, if they want all 8 of the core drivers, where's the best place to find you?
Best place to find me is probably on either Facebook. Just look for Lavender Dragon Team as our business page, or Mary Nunley, or LinkedIn. That's where I hang out.
Lavender Dragon page, Dragon page that
Lavender
you said?
Dragon Team Facebook page.
Team,
Yes.
Facebook. That's a really cool name. I like that.
Well, thank you.
As we conclude here today, I always like to end with this question. The question is something you mentioned earlier, and it's meaning. You've devoted a lot of attention and energy and expertise into this gamification area of your life, and why it means something to you, and just what is that meaning to you?
So for me, the meaning is like my whole personal motto is, if it's not fun, don't do it.
Mm.
And I am a longtime game player.
Mm.
Back in the day, like when Dungeons and Dragons first came out, I was a DM when it was, brand new and nobody knew what it was. So that sense of adventure, that sense of fun, that sense of surprise, it's been part of my life for as long as I can remember.
Wow, so powerful. And I have to ask you,
Uh-huh.
I mean, from one headsetter to another, it looks like you're still gaming. That looks like an
It
actual, like
is an
mine's like
Arctis. Yeah, no, this is
yeah.
an Arctis 7 chat headset.
Yes, that looks like a really good one.
It
So
is.
what game are you into these days?
Still Dungeons and Dragons.
Yes, it has survived the test of time.
Oh, yes. I
Captivating
mean,
it.
and
Yeah.
my son and his buddies have been playing online for over 10 years.
Oh my gosh. So I know well, esports or what, or just gaming in general is like that's a massive
Yeah,
growing
esports
market.
is really growing. Again, at one point, my son thought he wanted to go the esport route when he quit playing tennis, but he decided it took too much time. But it's
Okay.
pretty phenomenal. But he does his,
Wow.
he's 27 years old and he does D&D every week. And I've got a group of friends that I don't do it quite as often, but we get together and we play games online and have a good time.
Wow. So cool. It's a fast, huge growing community. Mary, I really appreciate you. And any last thoughts or comments you want to share with the audience today?
Just don't be afraid to try something new and take a chance and don't hesitate to reach out. But Chris, I appreciate having a chance to chat with you and the community.
Yeah, well, thank you for coming out and sharing with the community. And that being said, thank you, sales sender and fellow FlowChat family member, for hanging out with us, listening to this. Please, I hope that there's some powerful takeaways. We're going to continue to bring powerful, relevant content of real people solving real problems here on the Spotlight. Enjoy the rest of your day,
Bye,
and we'll
everyone.
we'll see you next time.